Anime for Blondes.
If we're being real, 2024 really blessed us with some amazing animes, including Solo Leveling and
Frieren!
Frieren, which is now on Netflix, so there is no more excuse for you not to be watching this.
Action.
Hello, I'm Becca.
And I'm Allie.
And welcome to Anime for Blondes, the girly pop podcast
made for girls?
made for you.
Oh my god. Made for you. Sorry, Becca just switched up on me and it changed my life for a second.
The look in your eyes,
I was
the fear.
so scared. What is going on? The Girly Pop Podcast made for you.
Made just for you.
And please, I hope you're a girl. I'm just kidding.
Anybody can watch this, you guys.
Yeah, cut that out, I guess.
As long as you're a view, we don't care.
So true, honestly.
But please, if you're going to click and view this, just watch it until the end, please, because our retention rate, we're struggling, guys.
Are we? Are we struggling?
She doesn't look at the stats.
I don't look at the stats. I just listen to what people tell me.
You just have 2 people that watch it.
Yeah, in my real life. And they're like, I loved your episode this week. Anyways. So today, obviously, we're going to be talking about Solo Leveling, the new episode.
Season 2, episode 9, which was an amazing episode, and I'm super excited to talk about that.
But
if you can't tell by our hair,
we're going to be talking about another anime that we both love.
Because if we're being real, 2024 really blessed us with some amazing animes, including Solo Leveling and
Frieren,
which is now on Netflix. So there is no more excuse for you not to be watching this.
Yes, Frieren, it's not just for people who love fantasy. It makes you, I don't know, to me, it made me be more mindful about life in general.
It is just, it's got to be one of the best animes of all time. It's definitely up there, maybe my second favorite now.
It's definitely the best controversial take. I know Solo Leveling won the award, but it's definitely the best anime of 2024.
I know. I'd have to agree with you, and I have to say, I think it is up there with animes I would suggest as oh, this is just a good show.
Yeah.
You don't have to like animes to watch Frieren and to enjoy it. It's like Attack on Titan, like that. It's just a good show that I think would connect with anybody.
Yeah. There's something for everyone in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the world. I do like the fantasy world that we're in.
It's a really cool fantasy world where it gives us some rules, but not every rule.
Mm-hmm. The magic system is really cool.
The magic system's really cool. There's some actual romance in there.
There is.
Finally, we get some romance.
Oh my gosh.
And it's very interesting. We talked about this on our Monday episode, but as far as female characters go, Frieren being a woman does play into her story, and Fern being a woman plays into their story, but there really isn't a lot of gendered discussions in Frieren.
No.
Which I love.
Because the thing that defines their society more is what type of what your role is, basically.
Exactly.
They aren't really gendered roles. It's more are you a mage?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a warrior? Are you a knight? Are you a priest? Priests play a huge role in this because religion is actually a massive theme in this show.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting this out.
We got some notes, guys.
I had to take notes because, first of all, when you told me that you were watching Frieren live here on the podcast, if you missed it.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and watch that, guys.
It made me so happy. And ever since then, I've just been waiting for us to talk about Frieren because I have so many thoughts. And so I had to get some notes ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to be able to talk about everything in the show in a 10-minute or 20-minute 30-minute segment.
Yeah, let's be real.
On a podcast.
And we do want to go more in depth in the future. I mean, we want this podcast to go on a long time, and I would love if we're recapping this as in our 3rd, 4th season in 2026 when it comes out.
Yeah, okay. First, when you were watching about Frieren made you be oh, I love this show?
I have to say, I really loved the first few episodes, most of all, I think.
Okay.
I really want to go back and rewatch just that, first arc. But I really, really like the concept of the Beyond Journey's End.
Yeah.
And this being Frieren's story after her big thing that she did.
Yeah, the big, because like in most shows, most fantasy shows, it's showing us the big adventure, the important thing that all these characters are doing. And yeah, this is everything after that.
This is a genius concept that I would watch a million times over. I want like every genre to do this story.
Like people are always like wondering like what did these characters do after the adventure? Like, obviously, we know what happened, like, where Frodo went, but, like, it's that question.
People as in me. That is, like,
People as in Becca.
I am always thinking of my favorite characters and how they're living after the journey's end.
How did Aragorn rule his kingdom after he became king?
How are Edward and Bella doing after having Renesmee?
The Twilight girl on TikTok is, like, convinced that every like, couple like decades they get divorced and then fall in love again and get back together.
She doesn't know them like I do.
They
would never get divorced again. They would never break up again.
But
yeah, like
I
I love that story, and something we'll probably get into, I'm guessing, I haven't looked at your notes, but this is a main theme, is how Frieren falls in love with Himmel in retrospect.
Yeah.
In her memories.
Oh, okay. So guys, we found the perfect song. We found Frieren and Himmel's song. This was me, by the way. I just want to take credit for that.
Yes, and it was just perfect. And I was like, and yes, you are right. And here's why. Like, even more. Because I introduced you to some more Frieren lore.
Some more lore. So, Himmel and Frieren's song is Wildest Dreams by Taylor Swift.
It's perfect, you guys.
And apparently from the first lyrics, like, heaven can't help me now, nothing lasts forever.
But apparently, this is going to take me down. If you guys didn't know, all of these names are German words that have like literal meanings, and Himmel means heaven.
Heaven can't help me now, nothing lasts forever.
You're kidding.
I literally can't. And so you'll see me in hindsight, tangled up with you all night. Someday when you leave me, I bet these memories follow you around.
Oh my
Say you'll see me again, even if it's just pretend. Oh my god. I'm obsessed.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
How much do we want to go into like specific details on the episodes, like spoilery, or are we just trying to convince people to watch it?
I mean, there's some spoilery stuff that I want to talk about.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about the overall theme already. At this point, I would say if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's on Netflix. It is amazing. It's honestly a really quick watch. It is 28 episodes. They're 20 minutes long. But I didn't find it hard to get through, and that's something I find hard to get through. Mm-hmm. Just a beautiful watch. If you've watched anime at all, go watch it. And if you haven't been super into anime, this would be a really good one to start on, I think.
I agree.
So now we're going to get more into spoiler themes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, where do you want to start with the spoilers? Because there is just so many good parts.
Okay, so first, I know you're not an end credits or beginning credits, like... Mm-hmm. That's not something you like super...
I did finally see what you were talking about, though. I like watched them one time.
Okay, what were you talking about?
The
credits. Preview or the next episode preview?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay, so I've shared this thought with a few people, but the next episode preview, if you haven't seen it, it takes dialogue from the next episode and layers it over each other. So it's like kind of hard to catch all of. And when I was watching it, when I was binging it really with Malachi, it made me like feel nostalgic for the next episode, even though I hadn't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. Just like that method of layering this dialogue on top of each other. And then I realized it's because, this is my interpretation, they made that choice because that must be what it sounds like to Frieren, like her memories. That must be what her memories sound like, because... You know, as you age or as time passes, visually, you know, things, you don't remember it as well, but like sound, you kind of remember better. So I just imagine that like in her memories, a lot of these flashbacks that were being shown sound like that, like pieces of conversations that she's had with people over the years like being layered on top of each other, especially when those conversations are being like mimicked in the current timeline.
Well, and we even get a very short, like, story that symbolizes this whole thing for Frieren, with the, like, old man warrior guy that's guarding the town.
What? Which one?
The one
town?
that's guarding the town for his wife.
Oh my god!
Who has passed away.
Yeah.
We get his story, and I actually just watched a video about it, so
Okay.
I know it's literally 8 or 9 minutes, the story.
Okay.
They tell us the story in. And they do such a good job at capturing this story that they do the big reveal that he can't even remember her face anymore.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't actually know, like, he is kind of getting senile. He reveals to Frieren, like, oh, you're finally gonna go kill the Demon King, which she did 80 years in the past. And we get this reveal that he's not actually as old there as we thought. And it's this story of love.
Yeah.
And how even when you can't remember someone anymore, this promise that you've made, like, you're still able to carry their love. And that's really what this whole story is about, is Frieren carrying her love for Himmel, even though she didn't realize that she had it when she did.
Yeah. So the premise is basically she's falling in love with him in the current timeline in retrospect. Like, she's falling in love with the memories of him.
She's realizing.
Because the show starts with basically Himmel's funeral, which confused me because I knew that the priest was older than him, like, significantly.
Literally so confusing how he got, like, short and old.
Yeah.
Why was he so short?
And, like,
out of nowhere.
Like, how was he the first one to die of old age when, like, the priest
seemed
was
so young.
much older than him? Yeah, he was.
I know, I was very confused by this
Yeah.
aspect of it. I think it was more of just hey, this is how it is.
Yeah, I guess. And Malachi was like, well, people don't die in order of age, which is
But he looked like a short little grandpa.
He did. Yep.
Like, the priest never looked that old.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I'm wondering if I wrote down who the voice actor is. I didn't. Okay, well, the voice actor is Miyuki Shirogane from Love is War. So if you like romance anime, there's that aspect to it too.
Okay.
Okay. The next detail I want to talk about. Okay, well, the details in general is like something to love about this show. Nothing is done lazily. Like, everything is done with, like, such attention to detail and such care.
Every scene is like a painting.
Yes!
Every scene, Taylor is, like, super hyper aware of this, but every scene you could pause it and make it a computer wallpaper.
Yeah. This artist that we saw at FanX last year had a bunch of Frieren art, and it's so beautiful. Malachi has one. It's hanging up in our dining room.
I would definitely get one now. Fan art,
it's,
or FanX 2025, watch out.
Yeah, we're coming for you. But, so another detail from the opening that I really liked, it's, first of all, I knew that Himmel was going to be boyfriend just from the opening, because when the music, like, really picks up, and, like, they're in, like, a spinning library, basically, Himmel's the first one you see, and he's, like, in the middle of the screen alone. Everyone else is paired with someone, but Himmel's alone, and he's the first one, because all of this is, because he's boyfriend, basically.
Yeah. Which we have had to issue an apology for our top 10 anime boyfriends video.
Himmel should be in there.
I cannot stress this enough that it's crazy that we didn't have him in there.
Well, you hadn't seen it, and honestly, he wasn't included in any of the, like, on the research that I saw.
So
which is
underrated.
That's actually kind of crazy of the community.
So underrated.
Is it just because he's dead currently? Is it just because he's already passed away that we can't consider him boyfriend?
It must be.
Sorry, but, like, Nanami's dead too.
True.
I'm just saying. So another detail in the opening that I really like is the very last shot. It's like Himmel and Fern, right? Those are, like, she's got her two groups from her different adventures. And the reason why all of this is flashing back to her is because they're basically taking the same route. They're taking the same journey. So it's like Fern and Himmel, and they're really close together, and they, like, slide apart on the screen, and then as they slide apart, we see, like, Frieren sliding with them until she's like whole in the middle. And that I really like the animated like representation of like her experience in 2 different timelines, basically.
Okay.
That's just, yeah.
I really like the intro and outro song. And
the music in this show
they're really
slaps.
beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the outro song, there's 2 intro songs because like the season
but they're
splits.
like pretty similar. Like they're the same song. They just like kind of add to it.
The outro's the same song. So the first half, it's the outro song, and then the second half, it's like a later part in the song. And hearing the later part in the song made me really emotional.
It's a way more emotional version of it.
Yeah. So when I listened to the song as a whole, because I do that, I listen to anime music. Yeah, it makes me really emotional. And the first intro song like goes so hard. It's like such a good, it sounds like fantasy. It sounds, I don't know, like I would also get down to it at the club.
Okay. But yeah, really good music.
The score is by this guy, Evan Call. He's apparently really famous.
Okay.
And they chose him because he likes to use authentic instruments. So in the score for this show, he uses like lutes and like harps and like old-fashioned instruments that are more true to the time period that they're doing, which is why it sounds so good.
I love that.
So shout out, I guess.
I have to say, I really love this show just like for the characters. I love that it's such a character-driven story. Well, I love character-driven stories, I've realized.
Yeah, because
as long as they're good characters, which these are.
Yes.
And I really resonate with Frieren, and I found myself just wishing that I could live a life like her. I feel like I wish I could do things as slowly as she is, and I like live my life like that, but then I get panicked because it's like I don't have thousands of years to live.
No, exactly.
And I love that she is just content to like move slowly and spend years trying to find one specific spell, and it's fun. It's a fun juxtaposition with Fern wanting to like rush through things because she's a human, she doesn't have time, and
it drives Fern crazy. She's like, you think like we don't have as much time as you. Like I don't want to spend my whole life doing this one thing because you like to take your leisurely time.
Exactly. And I love like the comments Frieren will make sometimes where she's like, oh, it's been no time at all. It's only been a decade. Like,
yeah.
I wish I could live my life like that. And I really resonate with Frieren in like a lot of ways.
An emotional way.
And I really liked her as a character. I feel like she's one of my favorite anime characters that I've watched and gotten to know.
I love that.
And I love the juxtaposition of Fern and Frieren in general, where we have Frieren is this like obviously very mature being because she has lived a long life. She's experienced a lot of things. And then Fern is very young and naive and doesn't know a lot. And then we get this like juxtaposition of Fern really trying to be mature because Frieren knows when it's okay to be immature.
Yeah.
And Fern is still young enough that she's like, no, like this is immature. Like we need to be mature in this way. And it almost shows how immature and naive Fern is.
Yeah, she's like that kind of like young age where you think you know everything.
Yes.
And it doesn't help that her like, once guardian, now I think Fern is technically old enough that she doesn't necessarily need a guardian, but like her master has moments of like such like immaturity and like silliness. The gag that got me was like she will just always fall for a mimic.
I know, it's so silly.
It's like, bitch, you know that's a mimic. Like, and she's like, but what if it's not?
She's like, there's like literally a 0.1% chance.
And she's like, and it'll be worth it.
It could be a grimoire.
Girl, your obsession with books, I mean, like, I get it.
My queen.
So yeah, that's the difference in their maturity. Like, Frieren is more like wise and Fern is more intelligent, and they both have their moments of immaturity. But yeah, Frieren is just like, she's just so unbothered. And Fern is like bothered by everything.
I know. She's so, I love her. I love both of them.
I love both of them, and I love Himmel. I have a list of things that I love, or of Himmel moments that I love.
Okay.
So I noticed this in my rewatch recently. So Frieren runs into this character who she remembers when he was a little kid, and she's like, he's an old man now, and she's like, you're that kid who flipped up my skirt. And it flashes back to when the kid's flipping up the skirt, and Himmel gets really mad at that kid, and he says, I wanted to do that for ages, but unlike you, I have self-restraint.
So cute. Okay.
The ancient seduction technique moment.
What was that?
You don't remember that?
No.
So
what was the context?
So they're trying to get the priest to join their journey, right? Because they want like a healer. And he's like, nah, it would be one thing if you had like an older woman on like with you, because I love older women. And they're like, we have the oldest woman. And she's like, yeah, here's this ancient seduction technique taught to me by my master, and it's just her blowing a kiss. And the guy's like unfazed by it. He's like, okay. But then it flashes back to when she did it on Himmel, and it shows him fainting.
Aww.
It's so cute.
That's cute.
How kind he is and how determined he is to be remembered. Like, he makes a point of stopping. Like, part of the reason their journey to kill the Demon King takes so long is not only just, like, the distance, which I love when fantasy shows show you how far away everything is.
Yeah.
It takes time to go on this journey. But part of the reason it takes so long is because he will always just like stop to help someone with like whatever task they need. And it's because, yes, he wants to help them, but also he wants to impact their lives in a positive way so that he can be remembered. And I'm like, is that literally just not the human condition? Like, we all just want to be remembered?
Yeah. I like that they paint him as this very selfless person, but they also make sure to remind you he was human. He was self-absorbed a little bit.
He loved to pose for statues.
Yep, he loved when they would give him statues.
He's aware of how handsome he is.
Yep. So I loved that aspect of it too, where everyone was very humanized.
Yes.
Everyone was like a fully fleshed out character.
That is a great, like, part about this show. It's like, in our current timeline, people talk about like Frieren, but like Himmel the hero is like the thing. Himmel the hero, they talk about him and all the great deeds he did, and then Frieren's like, this guy was an idiot, this guy was a fool,
and she remembers him as this human. That is an aspect of the show that I loved. One of my favorite recurring like kind of gags. It wasn't really a gag, but just everybody talking about the heroes that defeated the Demon King to Frieren, not knowing and not like cluing in, and she never said anything. She does not care.
She doesn't care.
She could not care
They're
less.
Like, you look just like the statue of the elf
like,
who joined the heroes party.
She's like,
do. Yeah, crazy.
She never once was like, I'm Frieren. Like, she always is just bored by it.
And people eventually, you know, depending on the situation, they figure it out because they realize how powerful she is, and they're like, oh, this is that mage.
But a lot of the time, they didn't even figure it out.
Like, the townspeople, they don't know.
They'll be like, oh, the heroes that saved us, and she's like, yeah. And she doesn't, they have no idea.
And the reason why she collects all these spells that she gives, this is like a reoccurring thing that she says like more than once. Fern's like, why do you care about these spells? We're like doing months-long chores so you can get like this one spell or this one skill. And first of all, they all have like a use that has to do with the people she cares about. Like, she's like, yeah, I learned a spell that removes rust, and she uses that to clean all the statues of Himmel. And like, but like, you don't know that at the time.
Exactly.
And then the spell to make grapes super sour, she learned that because Heiter loved his grapes sour. And Fern's like, why are you doing this? And she says, it's because a fool once praised me for the magic that I know, for the spells that I learn. Excuse me? Is that not the most romantic thing?
I know.
Like, and she doesn't realize that it's romantic, but like, this one guy, Himmel, praised her and is like, the spells that you learn are amazing. And so she's spending the rest of her existence learning more spells like that.
Well, I feel like Himmel really like taught her a lot about herself and a lot about life. And one of the aspects I like in the story that it was just like kind of a throwaway scene. I feel like it wasn't made, and that's the thing is there's a lot of throwaway scenes in this show.
But none of them are
actually throwaway. Like they move past something so quickly, and it'll be the most like emotional, like taught you, like made you think different moment ever. The one I'm thinking of is when they're in that town, and Frieren is like, I know a dinner spot that like has great food, and she's recommending the food to like what Fern should order and what Stark should order.
These giant hamburger steaks, by the way, biggest piece of meat. I don't know how you guys ate that, but sure.
And she goes into how like that establishment promised to never change their recipes so that she could still go back 100 years later and have the same food.
And they do.
But here's the thing: is they don't. They do change the food. The food is different. It's better. Yeah. And Frieren learns this lesson that like sometimes change actually can be good, and it's symbolized in this little thing where she tastes it and it's kind of building up. It's like, will it be the same? Will it be the same after 100 years?
It's even better.
And she tastes it and she's like, it's different. And it's even better. Like there was a ton of moments like that in it that just really touched me, man.
That episode made Malachi go, I really need to like sit and taste my food more. Because Malachi is always in a rush. And like that's just a symptom of our culture.
Yeah.
But he is always like really hungry, so he eats his food really fast as soon as he can get it, and he doesn't really like taste it. Which I'm guilty of that on occasion also. I'm really sorry if you guys can hear the dog barking.
Yeah, that dog has been in both recordings at this point, I think.
I'm so sorry. He is
we can't control what the dogs are up to.
I don't even know. Oh, but it's like so like watching that made Malachi go, I really need to slow down and like taste my food more. And just the way they, like, take their time to go on this journey, like, it's, like, that's, like, the fascinating thing about the pacing of the show. They're not in a hurry. Their end game is to eventually get to this place that they think is heaven so that they can talk to dead Himmel. Which I'm gonna be pissed if they eventually get there and he's not there.
He's gotta be there.
I'm gonna be so mad.
He'll be there. He's gotta be there.
But they don't really have a time limit on it. They're just kind of going, and like Fern and Stark, they don't really have anything else that they're doing to take their time away from them. So this is just how they're spending their lives at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's I think is another way to look at your life and romanticize it. It's like you think all these moments are like filler moments or like throwaway moments, but it's not. This is gonna sound so fucking like cringe and cheesy, but like every moment that you live is like important to the story. It's not a throwaway.
It's all just a part of your journey.
Exactly.
We've talked about this a lot actually, where like everything you're doing for a goal, maybe you don't reach that end goal. Maybe you change your mind. Maybe it doesn't work out. But the things you were doing, they're all leading you eventually to like your purpose.
Exactly. Like this podcast will lead us to either a really successful podcasting career or it will help us in whatever we do next.
Yeah.
Whatever like skill or whatever project we take on from here.
Like nothing is a waste of time. And that's something I've really struggled with, is dealing with failure and like realizing that that's not the end of the world to fail, and taking what I can from things. And I think from this show, I really have been trying to take the sentiment of just having that like stop and smell the roses vibe that Frieren has, and not feeling bitter that I can't actually just stop and smell the roses for 1,000 years, because oh man, that like I did have that feeling of like, man, it's so unfair that I don't have all that time, that I can't live my life that way, and taking the positives from it instead of the negatives.
We do unfortunately have to have more of a Fern mindset where it's like we actually don't have all of the time in the world to just do whatever we want. But we can still enjoy the time that we do have. Eli Ralio, whatever, take a shot.
Your favorite.
I guess. That said, and this really fucked me up for a second, was like, how you spend your days is how you spend your life.
Yeah.
And that's basically the freaking like thesis of Frieren. How you spend your days is how you spend your life.
Ugh, it's so true.
So we're on 30 minutes, so we gotta wrap up. But before we do, I want to talk about how apparently people can watch this show and completely miss the romantic aspects of it. Not between Fern and Stark, but we haven't really talked about that, but that's because they're young and there actually hasn't been that much development between them. But between Frieren and Himmel, people will straight up watch this whole show and not recognize that it's romantic.
And by people, you mean your husband.
My husband, who I want to reiterate, he is my husband. He gave me a ring and promised to love me forever. And we had a whole wedding, okay?
I was there.
All right, you were.
I was there every step of the way.
Okay, this motherfucker who did those things literally watched Himmel buy a ring for Frieren that symbolizes eternal love. Frieren picks it out, by the way, and he's like, you really want this ring? And then he sees that it's the flower that represents eternal love, okay? And then he's like, oh, this is perfect. Mm-hmm. He watches him get down on one knee and place this ring that represents eternal love on Frieren's hand. And he watched that and he goes, they're friends. You? Okay.
And history will remember them as roommates.
And that's part of like the story is like history is not remembering them as romance. It's literally Frieren being like, oh, actually I'm in love with him and he's dead and I can't do anything about it.
Yep.
So I want to say maybe we can include a clip of it here in this part of the discussion. But that's the scene. So you thought I had gotten to the end of Frieren and that's when I ugly cried.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, the moment when I ugly cried was the moment when Himmel gives Frieren the ring, because this whole episode where she has that flashback, she's looking for it because she realized she lost it somewhere in the woods. Mm-hmm. That jewelry finding spell? Oh my god.
I know. You could have used that.
I did lose my wedding ring, and then I found it like a year later in my underwear drawer. You guys are so
Frieren and Himmel coded.
Don't make me cry.
Ugly cries again.
So I did start ugly crying, and part of the reason I was ugly crying is because Malachi is so dumb, and he was like, because like I was interpreting this whole thing as romantic, and he was like, it's not that romantic of a show, and then that scene happened, and then I was like overwhelmed by emotion, and I was pissed off, so I started hitting him with a pillow also.
Okay.
I was like, you're actually so stupid for not realizing how romantic that is. And the reason I was sobbing, ugly crying is because it's a really cute scene.
Yeah.
And that was your interpretation. You're like, oh, that was like a really sweet scene. Yeah. Why would this make me cry? I'm sobbing because they can't be together because he's dead already. And all of this happened in the past.
That's tragic.
Why I was sobbing. It's tragic. It's beautiful and it's really sweet and it's really cute and I love them and I hope we see more flashbacks of like moments.
I think I've just like assumed that we're gonna see him in heaven when they get there.
Yeah.
And that there will be like they'll be able to be together.
He's dead and she's not.
Well, my theory is that she's gonna die at the end.
Becca Theory Corner?
Becca Theory Corner.
Is that Frieren's gonna die at the end?
I think it just makes the most sense.
I guess it does. I guess I kind of have just been watching this whole thing and being like assuming that we're gonna see the end of like Fern and Stark's life and then Frieren will
and I think that's why I think it's going to be like a twist on we had to see her lose all of her original group and now we're gonna see we think it'll happen again, but instead she will sacrifice herself or something and they will have to watch her. Like it's like this is so random, but it's like The Fault in Our Stars when you think Hazel's gonna die the whole time.
So true. And then
it's Augustus out of nowhere. That twist did not see that coming.
Really?
That fucked me up.
No, that book fucked me up.
No,
Don't
but
get it
that
twisted.
twist fucked me up. I was
Okay.
like, what? And I think that's my theory.
Okay. I mean,
That's Becca Theory Corner. So I
mean-
think they're going to be able to be together again.
okay. I mean, I would be satisfied by that. I think it's more likely that they get to the end and she has a conversation with Himmel. And she's like, hey, this is really awkward to tell you now, but, like, I really wish I had, like, taken the time to understand you more, because I think, you know, in remembering you, I love you. And then he's like, yeah, you just didn't notice it, but it's okay. I knew it the whole time.
Yeah.
Which-
He definitely did, and that's what I love
gonna-
about it.
I'm gonna cry right now.
And that's what I think, too, is that I feel content with everything because I think he did know.
Yeah.
And I think he knew she would realize eventually, and I think he was content with that.
And that's part of what that's what he says. Part of his reasoning, part of his motivation for, like, wanting to leave statues everywhere is so that she's not lonely, so that she can visit them and not be lonely and, like, still see him. And if that's not the most fucking romantic, like, gorgeous thing you've ever heard, I don't know what to tell you.
It is a very beautiful story. So pretty, so symbolic. We have some romance. We have
A lot of
a lot of, like,
action.
parental or, like, mentor love that is really special. Those are really the parts that made me the most emotional, honestly.
The
Is
parental moments.
the parental and, like, mentor moments. When Frieren was able to show Fern that she cared for her, and that, like, even though she doesn't go about things the right way or doesn't understand things like humans do, she works on it. Those really touched me.
We're gonna have to, we are gonna have to, like,
I
spend,
know.
like, some time, because, like, we hardly talked about that.
I know. There is so much in this show, you guys. It's so beautiful. If you've watched it, you know. If you sat through all these spoilers, maybe just, like, wait a few months and then watch it, and it'll be fine. You'll still really enjoy it.
Yeah, you will. I think you could still really enjoy it anyways.
And honestly, there's so much that we've missed out on talking about with it, so come back in 2026 before season 2 comes out.
And then we will go through this episode by episode and talk
Because,
about all the
yeah.
amazing details, because it really is worthy of our time to do.
It really is. And we'll do a whole big recap on it, and we'll cover season 2, so...
And I'm just so happy we have so much to look forward to. Me and Malachi even have been purchasing and reading the manga.
Oh my gosh, have you gotten past, like, what the show did?
Can I be honest? I haven't read it yet.
Oh.
But yes, we only collect manga from where we leave off in the shows that we're watching, and then go from there.
Oh, well, you're just gonna spoil it for yourself.
Well, I haven't read it yet.
I know,
So.
but reading it, you're gonna spoil it for yourself.
Sometimes I want the spoilers. Sometimes I want to know what happens. And sometimes there's not a season 2, but we're lucky with Frieren.
We are.
Okay,
So let's get into
solo leveling.
another season 2 that we have gotten pretty quick.
Yep.
Solo Leveling, season 2, episode 9.
To start, I take back everything that I said last time.
Guys, we were a few shots deep.
We'd had some vodka. We saw a single red flag.
We were panicking.
And like, red flags in men have taught, at least me,
Mm-hmm.
that, like, oh, actually this isn't gonna work out and everything's horrible.
And honestly, all you bitches on TikTok
Shut the fuck up.
that say, wait until the end to get a tattoo. Why are you saying
Why
that?
would you say that?
Because that fills me with anxiety.
Yeah. Okay, and maybe it's our fault for reading comments on things in the first place.
It's literally-
We shouldn't do
It's
that.
it's that TikTok that I sent you of the girl that was making a TikTok that was like, you know, I just feel so lucky with my man, and then she cuts to it and she's
Oh
like,
my god.
she's
Never
like,
mind.
never mind. And then all the comments were like, as soon as you think you've found a man that won't cheat, he will. So just don't think it. That's how we were worrying about Jin.
Yeah, we were so worried.
We were like, we found a perfect guy, and he will
betray us.
He will betray us, of course.
Because they always do.
That's how it works.
But we have to realize we found some good men.
Scared to say it.
I hate to
because
say it, like,
the TikTok is, yeah. We are lucky enough.
I think that we found good men.
And we need to learn to trust.
We gotta learn to trust sometimes. So this episode, I take back all my panicking. Also, both of our guys watched that episode and they were like, "You're way overreacting."
No, literally both of them were like, "I did not get that at all."
You're crazy. So okay.
I mean, maybe we have womanly instinct. I'm just saying.
We don't know yet.
We're not sure.
But as of right now, he's actually still our sweet baby boy.
He's so cupcake.
He's so baby girl.
Oh my god, he was so baby girl in this one.
I cannot watch men cry. Watching men cry makes me cry.
Watching men cry disgusts her. Man up.
That's not true.
Imagine.
I would no.
Imagine you just said that like unprovoked, and didn't know that that would be like so rude. If you're a man who
cries, you give me the ick. Oh no.
Ooh, that gives me the shivers.
Clip that.
Yeah. I'm like, why would you say that?
No, anytime, in reality, like on Joey's season of The Bachelor, every time he cried, that's when I would start crying.
Dude, I know.
I can't watch men cry. Same experience here. So, okay, we pick up where we left off immediately. Mm-hmm. He has unlocked all the items for the elixir of life.
Thank God.
Yes. And apparently there's a chance that even if you have all the ingredients and you like hit mix or something, there's a chance it won't work if your intelligence score isn't high enough.
Yeah, and the amount that it gives you, the quantity, is dependent on that too. So he's a little nervous.
He's nervous, understandably.
But he's our intellectual king.
He's actually so smart.
Literally.
Like, he has great instincts.
And I was kind of like, because isn't intellect what you use for mana? Like, mage stuff?
Usually, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
And
he did just invest.
I'm like, you literally, like, you're doing your frickin' sorcery stuff. Like,
yeah.
You probably have enough intellect.
He did. I understand why he would be nervous, because he did just invest all of his, like, leftover points into strength to win that fight.
Dummy.
Now I'm an idiot.
No, literally, that would actually
be so fun.
Imagine if it didn't go through.
I know.
Oh my god.
You shouldn't have used all your points on strength. But no, he's fine.
That's what I think will happen every time I'm playing a video game or D&D and
like,
I decide to do all my points. I'm like, but what if?
Dude, my D&D character just leveled up and now I have to choose what class what class of wizardry I'm joining.
Oh my god.
And like I have to pick spells and I'm like, oh god, it's just so much pressure.
R.I.P. my D&D character.
Oh, yeah?
They didn't die, but they're not coming back because my D&D group has been canceled until further notice.
Yeah, that tracks. R.I.P. Becca's D&D group.
I know. R.I.P. I'll miss it. I'll miss those days.
So he also gets another item in addition to the elixir, because it works.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 6.
6 of them.
Cool. He gets another item, and it's a stone. I'm not sure if it's a one-time use or not.
It seemed to me like it was a consumable one-time use thing, but I could be wrong.
It's like you use it, and then you can switch places with any of his, like, shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, he very importantly left shadows in the normal world to bodyguard. And so he just switches with one of them right away.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's doing that, her name's Isol.
Yeah, Isol.
She's like, wait, Jin-woo-san, and then he's gone and she can't say it. And it's like, we know you're gonna confess, girl. It's okay.
Which, if we meet Alex Lee, we dress as Cha and Isol.
Oh my god, yes.
That'd be so cute.
Yes. We dress as Cha and Isol, and then we give
I would love to be Isol. I think that'd be so fun.
That's perfect, because I have Cha's
You have Cha's outfit. Perfect.
And then we can give him our #1 anime boyfriend award.
Yes! Oh my god, I want to meet him so bad.
I know. Alex, please go to Anime Las Vegas.
Alex, please, Alex, go to Anime Las Vegas. We want to meet you so bad. I know you're on the list
already. Like, just go.
Please.
It's so close to Arizona.
Please.
Okay.
Anyways.
So he uses it right away because he wants to use this elixir of life on his mom immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So. It cuts and it shows us, like, the meeting between Japan and Korea again, and they're talking about their strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I didn't super care about it in the moment.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
It was interesting. They gave us, like, non-Genu content this week.
They did. We had a scene with, Bach, who's the president of the White Tiger Guild. That's the bigger red-haired guy.
Yeah.
Now, I know his
he's
name now.
He's more of an orange red, and the other guy is more of a pink red.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
Glasses guy is more of a pink red.
Like, I think you're more of a pink red instead of an orange red.
Right now? Or just always?
Right now.
Okay, yeah.
So he's like having dinner with an old friend because he's like, I could die. He's like preparing to die in this fucking ant raid. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, the island that they're going to, my brother-in-law showed it to me. It's a big island. It's not like a little island off of Korea. It's like a big like tourist destination island.
It's real.
Yeah, it's a real island. Jeju Island. Mm-hmm. It's a big tourist destination. So in that universe, like, a ton of people are fucked. It's not like a small, like, contained issue.
Yeah.
That is like a big fucking problem.
Yeah. It's not just like this random island.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. So I did appreciate that context. But so yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm prepared to die. I just wanted to like let you know this is where I'm going. And he's having dinner with this old S rank healer friend of his who was able to retire. And he's like, I'm not going. I like my life. I want to work in public service.
Yeah, he's like, are you trying to convince me? Because I'm not going to. And he's like, I'm not trying to convince you. I
just wanted to see you again.
He's like, honestly, I don't know what's going to happen to me. So
yeah. And I'm like, so he's obviously going to go.
Yeah.
Right?
He'll
like,
obviously end up going, right?
Yeah. I mean, healers can do like some crazy shit, apparently.
The minute someone says they're not going,
they're gonna go.
They're going.
So then it cuts back to the hospital, okay? And this was like so emotional.
I know.
And I was like,
this was crazy. He was so baby boy.
I was trying to like not cry the whole time.
I was tearing up.
Okay. I was trying not to. I was like, you're a grown woman. You're a grown woman.
No, this was sweet.
So he goes to the hospital and he he lifts up his mom to give her the potion, right? And he's like very much like, there's a chance it might not work. There's a chance it might not work. I don't even know if she can swallow it. But he lifts her up.
I kept getting scared that he like wasn't gonna do it. That he was gonna like panic and not do it.
I didn't have that fear at
like,
all.
because he kept hesitating. And I was like, just do it!
So, and his hand is shaking as he's trying to give it to her.
Also, him like holding her is so I Will Always Love You, the book coded.
Don't know that one.
The I'll like you for always, I'll love you for always, I'll like you for which one is it? You know which book I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
It's like the mom says it to her son.
Oh!
And then as they grow up, he goes and
I do know that.
It's like I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And then at the end, it's the son cradling his mom, and he says, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be. It was so that coded.
I get it.
And that book makes me cry every time.
Okay. I loved that they like, he was just like so vulnerable in this moment, and he's like, this is literally all I've been working towards. And it like shows his journey up until now. He has like little flashbacks, and it's like, damn it, this is his goal. And so he's able to give it to her. Oh, and it shows the moment when she first contracted the sickness when he was like younger. So it obviously got worse and worse as he grew up and time went by. And his perspective is, because I awakened as a hunter, I'm the reason for this. I'm the cause of this.
Yeah.
So a lot of his like emotional well-being is riding on this. And so he gives it to her, and we see like the rash go away right away.
Yep.
But it doesn't, and he just sits there, and it doesn't really work until, I mean, they just show us time passing as he's waiting, basically, by showing us that, like, the moonlight is moving, and the wind picks up, and he also is like, the system's had my back up until now, I just gotta have faith in the system. I gotta have faith that this will work.
Yeah.
And then it does,
It
and
works.
she wakes up, and she's looking at him.
God. And she says, how long have I been asleep? He says, 4 years.
Yeah. And he starts crying.
He is sobbing.
And
her hand is on his cheek like this, and it just shows. That is one of the most beautiful scenes in Solo Leveling so far.
Yeah.
Is just the scene is just on his face. Her hand is on his face, and it's her talking and like telling him, and he's just crying, and he can barely talk. She's like, you kept your promise to me, like, which is to take care of her. And she's like, I'm so sorry that I've been away for so long. I'm so sorry that you had to do that. She's like, look, you're hurt. You've been working too hard.
Oh my God.
And he is just, he's like, yeah.
You've been working
He's
too?
like, okay. And he is just, tears just coming out of his eyes. And oh my gosh, I don't know. Maybe that it's because that's where most of my trauma lays, but parental things get me every time.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. Sorry. Don't get me thinking. Yeah, it was so sweet. I'm like, so he is still still our sweet boyfriend.
He is. I can't believe we ever doubted him.
I know. He's
just not good with names.
No, and they make that
They
joke.
literally make the joke immediately. We're like, thank you.
Yeah, she's like, huh, you're not Isel. Isel says this. I don't even know what he's talking about, but
he can't remember. Oh, because he gets a dragon, by the way.
Oh
my
yeah,
God,
oh wow, yeah,
we're so ahead of ourselves.
He got a dragon, guys.
He gets to awaken a dragon, arise, and he can't remember what the dragon's name was.
I know, but I'm like, did they really like say the dragon's name?
I know. I'm like, I don't remember the dragon's name.
I don't remember. Like, it doesn't seem.
I
like
would be naming him like Spot.
Spot is crazy.
Or Smokey.
So Smokey would be
That'd be
so
a cute
That's
name for a dragon.
Name for a dragon. I like that one. But so he names it. I don't even remember what he actually names it. But yeah, Isel's like, you're not very good with names, are you? And I'm like, okay, I feel better now.
I'm like, thank you for acknowledging this.
Yeah,
it's like he can be perfect.
But we have been saying that he's literally perfect.
Okay, he's perfect other than he struggles with names.
I mean, like, you struggle with faces.
Oh my God, I do.
We clearly struggle with names.
We can never remember the characters' names.
So, you know,
literally, who are we? Literally, though.
Like, clearly, we're not special. And he's
one guy, and he's trying to save the world.
And he just wanted his mommy back.
Oh my gosh.
And he did it. And yeah, so he was crying. That was really emotional. I did start crying. I was like, please don't cry, please don't cry. But then I started crying.
I teared up. I didn't have tears fall, but I was holding them in
they
my eyeballs. Yeah. I restrained myself.
And he summons his dragon to ride right away. That was really cool.
I know. I'm like, okay, king.
That's pretty sick.
Can't walk.
I do.
Doesn't want to take public transit.
I do like a man on a dragon, I must say. That's kind of like.
You know what you should read?
Shut the fuck up.
Fourth Wing.
Fuck up. I know. All right. Anyways, so they show us a lot of this freaking ant side plot, which is no longer a side plot. It's gonna be the main plot going forward. So I get it. I understand.
It's a new arc.
But that's not the part I care about. So he brings his mother home. His sister starts crying too. And she's like, you really are my son because like you work really hard to help people, and that's what your dad did, because we find out he was a firefighter before he became a hunter. And the daughter's like, I'm gonna help people too. I'm gonna be a doctor.
She's so cute.
What the hell is going on? No, just a giant truck, I'm sure. Okay. And so while he's been gone, his sister hasn't been very good at keeping the apartment clean, so it's kind of a mess. So he goes into dad mode for a second. And the mom's like, hey, it's okay, I'll help clean up.
Yeah, the mom's like, hey, I have 4 years of cleanup to help you guys catch up on. Like, oh my God, she is so sweet.
So they clean the apartment together, and it's just like, yeah, a moment that maybe you think is a throwaway moment, but like cleaning your apartment with your like family and loved ones is special. Like a privilege.
That is such a good way to put it. It is a privilege.
Yeah.
A privilege that a lot of people don't get. Have. And
I will never like be cleaning my house with my mom again.
I know.
Probably.
And I hated it growing up.
I mean, yeah.
But they even bring up, the mom brings up, like, wow, this place is really getting old. Like, this place is really showing wear. And the daughter is like, the sister or daughter, I guess, is like, I mean, we've lived here since I was born.
Which is, I actually think, you might think duh,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this was good clarification because now the dad knows where to find them if he comes back to Korea.
Well, and also they show the picture of the dad. They let us in on a little bit more of his lore. Something that me and Taylor discussed the other day actually is that Solo Leveling has not showed us any lore basically of JinWoo's life. The furthest back we get of JinWoo's life is when his mom gets it, which was only 4 years ago. So he was already an adult. We get to see him. What are you talking about? Why are you looking so concerned?
What do you repeat what you just said?
So the furthest back we get in JinWoo's life is when his mom gets sick.
That the first time she gets sick?
We get just that flash, but then really when we get like JinWoo's life starting and when we know more about him is when she goes into her sleep and he's an adult already.
Okay.
He has to get a job. It is before he awakens. So we get a little bit of his life before he awakens, but we really do not know much about him.
I guess I just don't remember that part. I don't really remember that scene.
So you don't think we've gotten like any lore in your head?
Yeah, in my head, the earliest thing I've seen is the first episode.
Yeah, I mean, it basically is,
But
because it's only 4 years before we get a little snippet, kind of a montage. And the only reason I remember this is because I watched the first few episodes recently.
Okay.
The other day.
Oh, yeah, you
So, but we really, a lot of the times you get childhood lore and stuff for these characters. We do not really know JinWoo.
Yeah.
We know him as an adult, and we know him as he's gone through this traumatic thing. We don't really know, we don't know what his dad's story is. We now know he was a firefighter before he was a hunter, but there's so much lore that we do not know.
We don't even really know what his interests are.
He hasn't had time to have interests.
He hasn't had time. He's been like dungeon grinding the entire time we've known him.
And before that, he was working a construction job because he had to make the rent.
Yep. And that's
before he awakened.
All we know.
So I really, really, really would love a background story.
Okay.
I don't know if
I don't know if we have time.
Yeah, I don't know if we do.
They gotta take care of this ant thing.
I know.
Which, by the way, is giving me major, like, Hunter x Hunter, like, flashbacks, like, a lot, like, because a giant arc in Hunter x Hunter that ended up taking the amount of episodes in that season, in that arc, is more episodes than all of the other seasons combined. So it is a lot of time of them fighting these things called chimera ants that are eating people, and it's traumatizing, and that's literally what this is making me think of.
Okay.
And it's so icky. And I'm
I hate ants.
My mom hates ants too. I've never minded
Ants
them.
are like my biggest
really
fear.
Spiders?
I hate ants more than spiders.
You hate ants more than spiders?
Yep.
Crazy. Okay.
You know, they are so strong. If they were our size, they would be able to take over, and I'm scared of that. And that's basically what's happening.
I mean, yeah.
It's basically what's happening in this, and it is. I'm like, they need to
scary.
have, you know how games, video games that have spiders in it will have arachnophobia warnings, and a lot of them will have a no arachnophobia version.
Okay.
And they just won't have any spiders in it.
That's very
I need that for
video
this show,
games.
but ants.
Okay, so you would rather just not watch this next plot.
I am a little freaked out, but they'll beat the ants, so it'll be fine.
They will beat the ants. They've got a pretty good plan. They've got a team.
I mean, they do have a pretty good plan. I like their plan, and I mean, they brought in the strongest hunter ever at this point.
Yeah, because they finally got a hold of him. They've been like, where the fuck is Hunter Sung? We need him.
And they call him, and I think that it's really cool. He talks about how he could really use it for leveling up, but I think part of it is that he respects the old man so much, the president of the Hunters Association.
Yeah, the Hunters Association. Different than a guild.
So he's pretty important. I think he respects him, and so I think that's the only reason he is even, considering it.
I think the reason he's doing it is the whole, great power comes with great responsibility thing.
He is kind of having this new arc of that. His whole purpose
has been wake up mom, get elixir of life.
And now he has.
And now he's like, I actually kind of don't want to leave now because
He's
have
like,
her
I did my
back.
purpose. I don't want to, I want to spend time with her.
Yeah.
But now he's realizing, oh, do I have a greater purpose?
Yeah, you do. You gotta go fight.
And this will be a really fun, this is going to be a really fun arc.
I think he's got this.
This is the arc that, like, all the manhwa fans have been waiting for.
Yeah, they're really excited. But we've only got 4 episodes of it now, and apparently not an hour-long finale.
I know. I think we were wrong on the hour finale, guys.
So this was episode 9, so we have 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Yeah, I think we have until the end of March.
Perfect. So he joins them. They go and check out this space where all the S-rank hunters are training. And you and I, we hear that and we get really excited.
Yep.
Because we're like, oh my god, finally he's going to be in the same room as Cha. They're going to be like, they're going to train together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what happens.
He walks in and it's just only showing these 2 guys for so long. And they're talking about these 2 random guys for so long.
It's Bach and then this other guy.
Yeah.
And they're just fighting, and we're like, where the fuck is Cha?
Literally. And then they finally show her, barely shows her.
Barely showed her. She's just like standing around having a conversation. She realizes he's there and she's like, oh, that explains the shift in the atmosphere.
I'm like, okay.
Queen.
Me when the love of my life is near me.
So true.
Me when my soulmate is there.
They're literally soulmates. And then the people from Japan come in and someone's like, if this is like the best that Korea has got, then their S ranks are pretty fucking weak. And they take that personally.
Yep.
And so they're like, let's have a friendly competition between S rank and we'll like do hand-to-hand combat competition.
I hope they don't spend too long on that.
I hope so too, because like JinWoo can't even fight. He can't even participate.
I know,
because
he's just
they're
watching.
like no mages, which is what he's classified under as a mage.
Yeah.
And so it's just gonna be, so we'll see Cha fighting.
Yeah.
So
I'm
he'll at
excited to
least
see
get
that.
to watch that.
We might have to cut this out, but I saw, it's not really a spoiler, I don't
Tell
think, but there's a spin-off of this. Do you know about that?
A spin-off of solo leveling?
Yeah, like in the manhwa, there's like a new,
I did not.
There's already a spin-off.
I did not know
and
that.
do you know who the main character is?
Is it Cha?
It's Jin-woo Sung, I think. So he
Wait,
somehow has a kid.
Okay.
And with everyone shipping them, I'm like,
I mean,
there's gotta be a reason that they ship them, right?
I mean, he's a very powerful woman, or he's a very wow.
He's a very powerful woman.
He's a very powerful man. It makes sense that, you know, you'd need a equally powerful woman to have a life with.
And apparently they have the studio that's doing solo leveling really wants to make this into like the next big franchise and do it for years.
Which I don't know if I trust that source at this point.
I don't either,
because they were like, we'll get an hour-long finale, and then that turned out to be wrong.
Well, and it is always like, it's like, yeah, sure, that's the plan until things go wrong. Like, Game of Thrones was supposed to be this whole huge like franchise extended, and then
you had sorry.
No Game of Thrones discussion.
Okay. Sorry, I'm stuck. So yeah, they were like, what we saw, which is an unreliable source, was we want this to be the next One Piece. My question is, how are you going to do that when, from what we've seen, it looks like you're speeding through a lot of content?
I think it's because there is already like spin-off content too.
Okay,
and so there's
they
a
really
lot
want to
of
get to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't know much about the spin-off content other than that detail that I'm not sure if we cut out or not.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
I think it's fine. I think you can kind of assume.
Yeah, and honestly, like, maybe I'm wrong about that. I feel like I've seen that.
Okay. I haven't. But
I think Brayden said that, so it's got to be true.
I was like, Brayden, why are you always trying to spoil it? And he's like, when did I?
He said that to you?
Yeah. And I was like, well, I haven't responded. I never responded to him. I left that message on read. But,
please.
But like, not to me, but apparently to you. Apparently to Taylor.
I mean, we struggle to not spoil things too, let's be real.
We do. Well, but again, we only have so much information. Anything we say about the future can be wrong.
That's true.
Because we actually don't know. We actually haven't read it.
But I mean, just in general. we struggle not to spoil things.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine.
But yeah, this was a fun episode, and it kind of ended on that, like, they're about to fight. It was another moment of, oh yeah, I forgot we're not just, like, watching this for a while.
I knew that it was gonna end.
Yeah.
I knew we weren't gonna get to see the fight this time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was... I mean, I kind of wish it ended on the his mom is awake now moment. Like,
I would have liked a bigger moment of that, but...
I would have liked it more... Now I'm rewriting the show. I would have liked it more if it ended on the part where his phone is ringing and he answers. And then you just, like, assume that it's the Hunters Association reaching out to him.
That could be interesting.
And then, like, we just see this whole thing that's about to happen next episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine.
Yeah, I think... I mean, if we want to get symbolic and assign meaning to it,
Okay.
maybe they're doing it because they wanted to show, like... Because wasn't the name of the thing, like, the purpose something? What was the name of the episode?
It was all worth it.
It was all worth it. I think it's kind of trying to show, like, this was his whole purpose, and now he's gonna have a new purpose. We're ending
true.
that arc.
Yeah.
We're ending him finding himself and saving his mom, and now we're going into he's strong boy.
Now he's
and
strong
he's gonna
boy,
save the world.
And now you have a job to do.
Yep.
I did have a quick Ali's theory corner.
Okay.
And it's not really a theory, it's just something I've noticed that kind of leads to a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that whenever his eyes glow blue and he's, like, saying a really badass line, that there's, like, another voice modulated on top of his voice, and it's a little echoey?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I noticed that when I was rewatching it with Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's all cut up now.
Yay.
So I was like, oh, this is happening whenever his eyes are glowing blue, and I was like, is it possible that that's, like, the system talking through him?
Oh, interesting.
Because, yeah. I mean, obviously it's, like, Alex, or if you're watching it in English, it's Alex Lay doing it. But then there's, like, another voice, like, very, like, kind of echoey, not really. I mean, if you're not super paying attention, it just sounds like he's talking really deep and cool and loud.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, there's a second voice there, and it's when his eyes are glowing. So
I'll have to watch for that. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
I mean, the system, like, the show has been showing us, like, the system glitching
will interfere.
and interfering, so
the system
it wouldn't
is like,
surprise
you
me.
can only have so much information, you can only know so much, you can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, it wants him to succeed.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to beat him down yet.
It doesn't.
So, we'll see.
I am super excited to see where it goes from here and how we end this in this next month. It's going to be very interesting.
Do you think we're going to get to the end of the, Jeju Island arc at the end? Or is it just going to show us more preparation and then they get to the island then the season ends?
I think we will get to, like, a big cliffhanger part in the Jeju Island thing, and then it'll continue in the next season.
Okay. I really can't predict how they're going to pace things.
Me neither. I have seen, like, people that have read the manhwa have, like, a good idea for when they think it'll end. So, we'll see. I'm excited.
I'm excited, too. This is going to be great.
I know. I'm really still loving it. I hope you guys are all still loving it.
We only have 1 month left of our boyfriend for, like, the next year.
I know. Until the end of 2026, it said.
Yeah.
Dang.
But again, it's that same unreliable source.
Yeah, so we gotta cherish it. We're cherishing Jin-woo. We are ignoring his red flags for now. He's imperfect. It's fine.
Yeah, right now, I mean, yeah, he has one teeny tiny little flaw that we also share. Yeah. So really, it's not even a flaw. So really, he's still, like, perfect.
He's just like us.
He's just like us. Except, yeah. So, make sure that you stay caught up on the new solo leveling episodes. They come out on Saturdays, and then our recaps come out on Wednesdays. And then if you like Apothecary Diaries, those episodes come out on Fridays, and then our recaps come out on Mondays.
Yep.
Make sure you follow us on social media at Anime for Blondes Pod on TikTok and Instagram.
Yippee!
And subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts if that's what you're into.
Yeah, let us know what you're thinking about the season so far in the comments. I am super curious. And if you've read the manhwa, no spoilers.
No spoil. All of you, shut up.
No spoilers. I just want to love my Jin-woo. But yeah.
In the comments, tell us if you think it's a red flag. Tell us if you have seen any red flags.
Yeah, does Jin-woo have any red flags? Is it a red flag to not remember names? Let us know your
Let us know how
opinion.
toxic we are for forgetting names constantly.
No, seriously. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the week. See you on Monday.
Bye!
Bye.
Anime for Blondes.